The ceremony of submission. The tribunal chamber of the Varkan Empire was designed for one purpose: to crush hope. Cold metal curved upward in vast arcs, the ceiling so high it disappeared into shadow. Rows of tiered seats glimmered like sharpened teeth, filled with silent spectators from dozens of alien species, all loyal vassals of the Empire. Their eyes glowed in muted blues, greens, and purples, fixed on the spectacle unfolding at the center of the circular floor. There, beneath the harsh white lights, 3 human girls knelt. Their pale dresses were torn and stained with dust from the mining cells, their bare feet pressed against the freezing metal. The youngest, Lyra, tried to keep her back straight despite the tremor running through her shoulders. Mara, older and sturdier, rested both hands on her knees, jaw clenched so tightly it shook. Celine, the eldest by a year, kept her chin lifted in quiet defiance, though tears streaked down her cheeks. The crowd murmured as the ground trembled. A heavy iron door split open behind the girls. High Warden Grokter stepped through. He was a towering figure of green muscle and jagged armor, his eyes burning like molten glass. Across his chest lay a sash of authority, decorated with glyphs signifying conquest, domination, and the right to sentence lesser species to servitude. In his massive hands, he held an object that drew immediate gasps from the chamber. An enormous pair of ceremonial shears, crafted from star metal and polished to a mirror shine. To all assembled, Grokter boomed, his voice amplified by the chamber's resonance fields. Behold the ceremony of compliance. Holographic banners shimmered to life around him, displaying the crest of the Varkan Empire, 3 clawed hands gripping a broken chain, the symbol of dominion. Today, the primitive species known as humans accept their defeat, Grokter declared. Today, they surrender their pride. The spectators applauded, the sound echoing like collapsing stone. Lyra flinched. Mara exhaled slowly, trying to still her heartbeat. Celine stared forward, refusing to bow her head. Grokter circled them, savoring the attention. These 3 specimens represent their entire kind. Their submission will be broadcast to every system under Varkan rule. Let all witness the taming of humanity. Lyra whispered, "Please, please don't," but quickly bit her lip, ashamed of the plea. Grokter stepped behind her. The giant shears gleamed ominously as he opened them with a metallic hiss. The audience leaned forward. A moment of perfect, suffocating silence. Then, snip! Lyra gasped as a thick lock of her golden hair fell to the floor. The crowd roared with laughter. Grokter continued snipping, each cut slower than the last, savoring every reaction. Lyra trembled, tears dripping on her lap, but she forced herself not to scream. Not here. Not for them. Mara's fingers curled into fists. She wanted to lunge at him, to fight, to protect her friends, but her restraints and exhaustion held her in place. Celine whispered, "Just breathe. Don't give them what they want." But even she shuddered when Grokter moved to Mara next. The scissors hovered above Mara's head. Grokter grinned, exposing sharp, wet teeth. "This one has fire." He crushed Mara's hair between the blades. Snip, snip, snip. Mara clenched her jaw until pain shot through it. She stared straight ahead, refusing to show weakness. But when the final tuft of hair dropped to the metal floor, a single tear escaped and fell silently down her cheek. Grokter stepped around to Celine last. "And this one," he murmured, almost amused, "believes she is strong." Celine met his gaze through the reflection in the blade. "Humans are stronger than you think." Grokter laughed, the sound echoing like cracked stone. Her hair fell in long silver ribbons, scattering at her knees. When the ritual ended, all 3 girls sat bald and shaking, heads exposed to the luminous glare. Their shaved scalps gleamed with humiliation and something else. Something Grokter did not understand. But the cameras did. Dozens of hovering holodrones circled the stage, capturing every angle, every tear, every quiver of fear. The feed streamed outward through the Varkan broadcast network, spreading to all corners of their controlled space. What Grokter didn't realize, what no one in the chamber suspected, was that one of the broadcast relays, damaged days earlier in the invasion, was still linked to the public galactic network. The ceremony went viral. Across human space, in the colonies of Eden 4, on the massive orbital rings around Mars, in the crowded arcologies of Earth, billions of humans watched in frozen silence as 3 of their daughters were paraded, mocked, stripped of dignity. Parents wept. Soldiers stared in disbelief. Children hid behind their mothers. And something ancient, primal, and unstoppable began to rise inside every human heart. Within the hour, the Terran Assembly convened under emergency protocols. Fleets were mobilized. Factories shifted to wartime production. Recruitment lines overflowed. Humanity, fractured for centuries, united in a single shared fury. Back in the tribunal hall, Grokter planted the shears into the metal floor with a triumphant clang. "Let this be a lesson," he announced. "Humanity kneels." But as the girls lifted their tear-streaked faces, a spark burned behind their eyes. A spark soon to become a wildfire. A wildfire that would engulf an empire. The embers become flames. The footage spread across human space like a pulse of fire. Before the Varkan Empire even finished celebrating their spectacle, billions of humans were watching the moment 3 young girls, 3 symbols of innocence, had their heads forcibly shaved before jeering aliens. The images looped endlessly. Lyra trembling, Mara biting her lip until it bled, Selene staring forward with silent fury. It became the most viewed broadcast in human history within 30 minutes. On Earth, crowds gathered in silent outrage. On Mars, workers left their shifts mid-cycle. In the orbital academies, cadets demanded deployment. In every colony, every habitat dome, every starship, the same question burned. What have they done to our children? By the time the sun rose over the Pacific arcology, the Terran Assembly was already in session, something that hadn't happened unanimously in decades. Representatives from every nation, bloc, megacorp, and colony crowded the great chamber, faces pale with fury. A hologram hovered in the center, Selene's freshly shaved head, her eyes red and hollow, yet burning with defiance. Gasps rippled through the delegates. Senator Arya Solane, the eldest of Selene's surviving relatives, stood before the assembly. Her voice was cracked from hours of crying, but her spine remained steel. "The Varkan Empire thinks this humiliation will break us," she said. "They think we will kneel as they parade our daughters like livestock." Her voice rose. "They believe humanity is weak." A wave of low growls answered her. Arya pointed at the frozen image. This was their greatest mistake. The chamber erupted. Delegates slammed fists onto desks. Admirals cursed into comms, demanding orders. Industrial lords authorized emergency production. But Admiral Helena Rourke, commander of the Terran Stellar Vanguard, remained silent until the chaos dimmed. Finally, she stepped forward, tall, scarred, and as unshakable as tungsten. "In my 40 years of service," she began, "I have never seen humanity united." She gestured toward the hollow. "Today, all divisions end." She paused. The room held its breath. "We go to war," Rourke said. "Total war." The announcement rippled across every human system. Factories roared to life. Starship drydocks glowed as new hulls were forged. Volunteers flooded recruitment stations so rapidly that AI clerks struggled to process them. But while humanity mobilized, the Empire remained oblivious. On Varkun Prime, High Warden Grokter celebrated the ceremony with feasts and parades, never realizing the extent of the broadcast's reach. He mocked the girls repeatedly, displaying their shaved scalps as trophies of subjugation. To him, it was a small cultural rite. To humanity, it was the last straw. And to make it worse, the 3 girls weren't anonymous. Within hours, their identities were confirmed. Mara Hale, daughter of Eden 4's beloved botanist team, known for her drawings of wildflowers and dreams of becoming an ecologist. Mara Vance, an aspiring pilot who had just passed her entry exams. The youngest of 7 siblings. Each sibling made a vow on live television. "We will bring her home." Selene Solane, niece of Senator Arya Solane, top student in her colony, known for her strategic genius even as a teenager. Their family's grief became a rallying cry. Streets filled with handwritten signs. Bring them back. Burn the Empire. Humanity protects its own. But beneath the emotional eruption, there was cold calculation too. Humanity wasn't charging blindly into war. They planned, they analyzed, they sharpened themselves like a blade honed on stone. In a dim war room aboard the flagship TSV Retributor, Admiral Rourke and her council studied holomaps of Varkan territory. "They're larger in territory," said Commander Reyes, leaning over the projection. "More ships. Older tech. They think this guarantees victory." Rourke's lips tightened. "It guarantees arrogance." Another officer tapped a blinking icon. "Their relay system is decentralized but vulnerable. If we sever these nodes, we isolate entire sectors." "And their shipyards?" Rourke asked. A tactician stepped forward, face pale. "Their largest Warforge moons rely on a single antimatter distribution station. Overload it, and we cripple their production for a decade." Rourke nodded slowly. "We don't just attack the Empire." Her eyes glinted with cold fire. "We shatter it." Across human space, soldiers whispered among themselves. Civilians prepared for rationing. Refugees flocked to military outposts, begging to enlist. Even old enemies, the Jovian Syndicate, the Commonwealth of Luna, the Martian Triumvirate, set aside rivalries. For the first time since the dawn of the colonization era, humanity stood as one. And the Empire had no idea. While Grokter mocked humanity through state broadcasts, human Black Ops teams were already mobilizing. Stealth corvettes slipped through dark lanes of space. Hackers infiltrated Empire networks. Covert agents observed troop movements. It was one of these covert units that delivered the most critical intelligence. The three girls were still alive, held not for execution, but for transfer to a deeper slave sector reserved for prolonged re-education. The moment Admiral Rourke received the report, she stood so quickly her chair clattered backward. "Prepare a strike team," she ordered. Operation codename, Daughter's Dawn. Her officers saluted sharply. "The girls will be rescued," Rourke said, voice lowered to a growl. "And the Empire will understand the price of touching our children." Outside the viewport of the Retributor, dozens of human warships drifted into formation, silent, massive silhouettes preparing for ignition. Across every channel, from Sol to the outer colonies, a single message resonated. Humanity does not forgive. Daughter's Dawn. The slave sector moon of Karzul hung in space like a dying ember, rust-red, scarred by ancient strip mines, and ringed with automated gun platforms. It was where the Varkan Empire sent uncooperative specimens. For most species, the moon was the end of hope. For humans, it was about to become the beginning of retribution. A shadow moved out of warp. The stealth corvette Shadow's Wrath, coated in adaptive metamaterials, shimmered into the darkness like a ghost ship. Its engines emitted no heat signature. Its comms were silent. It coasted on stored impulse power, invisible to the Empire's sensors. Inside, the strike team gathered in the armory, 8 elite operatives, faces masked, weapons sleek and matte. Commander Reyes stood at the front, helmet tucked under one arm. His expression was calm, but the tension in his voice betrayed the storm brewing beneath. "You all saw the footage," he said. "No one needed reminding. Those girls have been moved to Sector Cell 9. We get in, extract them, and cripple the facility on our way out." One soldier muttered, "About time someone hits these bastards back." Reyes didn't reprimand him. He felt exactly the same. A soft chime signaled docking maneuver readiness. "Blackout protocols active," said the pilot over comms. External sensors blinded. Airlock aligned. "Good hunting." Reyes locked his helmet on. "Move." The strike team descended into the moon's atmosphere like falling shadows. They pierced the outer access shaft, disabling sentry drones with silent pulse darts. Security lights flickered, then went dark, overridden by their infiltrator AI. Inside the facility, the smell of metal and fear was everywhere. The corridors were narrow, lit by flickering red panels. Slave transports clanked in distant halls. A low hum of machinery vibrated through the floor. Reyes signaled a halt at a camera junction. "Cut feed," he whispered. A tech specialist tapped into the panel. Looping now. A perfect copy of an empty hallway played on every screen. "Go." They moved like wraiths, eliminating guards with quick choke holds and suppressed bursts. No alarms, no screams, just the quiet efficiency of highly trained humans fueled by righteous fury. At last, they reached Sector Cell 9. Reyes raised a fist. Breaching in 5, the door hissed open, and there they were. Lyra, curled in a corner, hugging her knees, eyes wide with exhaustion. Mara, standing protectively in front of the others despite trembling legs. Celine, bruised but still awake, calculating, as if expecting the door to open. For a heartbeat, the girls stared in disbelief. Reyes lifted his visor. "Your family sent us," he said gently. "You're going home." Mara collapsed first, not from weakness, but from the release of unbearable tension. Lyra sobbed, her small hands covering her shaved head as a soldier wrapped her in a thermal cloak. Celine didn't cry. Celine stepped forward. "Do you have intel on the outer guard rotations?" she asked immediately. Reyes blinked. "You're asking about strategy?" "Of course," she said. "If you came to save us, you came to fight. What's the plan?" A flicker of stunned admiration passed through the strike team. Even shaved, bruised, and exhausted, Celine's spirit had not cracked. She was human, and humans didn't break. Reyes handed her a spare comm unit. "All right then, you're part of the plan now." While medics checked the girls, the facility suddenly shuddered. Klaxons wailed. Red lights strobed violently. Reyes snapped his rifle up. "Talk to me." The tech specialist swore. Someone tripped a manual alert. Sectors being locked down. "Fall back," Reyes ordered. "Escort the girls. We'll punch through." They sprinted through the corridors as doors slammed and bulkheads sealed. Empire guards poured in, firing plasma bolts that scorched walls. The strike team returned fire in controlled bursts, dropping soldiers before they could aim. Lyra screamed as a bolt nearly grazed her. Mara shielded her instinctively. Celine stayed calm, breathing in sharp, steady bursts. "Left hallway has reinforcements incoming," Celine called out, reading the minimap feed faster than most soldiers. "Take the right path." Reyes didn't question it. "Move right." Her intuition was perfect. Right hallway was clear. But at the final exit tunnel, a massive figure blocked the path. High Warden Proctor. He had not expected humans. He had not expected war. Yet there he stood, towering, armored, breathing heavily, his ceremonial shears strapped to his back like a trophy. "So," Proctor growled, "the livestock came for their young." Reyes stepped forward. "You hurt children." Proctor smiled. "I shave them. Heartbeats grow back." "Hair grows back," Reyes corrected coldly. "Empires don't." He charged. The duel erupted with bone-shaking force. Proctor swung a massive energy halberd. Reyes ducked under it, striking with shock batons that sent crackling arcs across alien armor. Proctor roared, swiping again, smashing a chunk of the wall. The girls watched in terrified silence. Reyes rolled, leapt, struck joints, targeted weaknesses. Proctor grew angrier, sloppier. With a final, desperate lunge, Reyes plunged a shock baton into Proctor's throat. Electricity surged. Proctor collapsed, choking, staring in disbelief. "All this over a haircut?" he rasped. Reyes leaned down. "No," he whispered. "Over your arrogance." Proctor died with confusion on his face. Reyes turned to the girls. "Let's go home." Outside, the Shadow's wrath fired thrusters and ascended with its precious cargo. Behind them, timed quantum charges detonated, ripping the slave facility apart in a storm of blue-white fire. The first blow in humanity's war had been struck, and the Empire had no idea how much worse it would get. The shaving of empires. The stellar horizon burned. From the command balcony of the UHS Vengeance, Eternal, Admiral Mara Hale watched the feed from 200 frontline drones. Each viewport showed another fragment of the same truth. The Empire was breaking. Its fleets, once symbols of inevitability, were scattered embers in a void lit by the fury of a species pushed too far. "Admiral," murmured Captain Runicata at her side, "the 7th Hammer Group has pierced the last defensive ring around Meridian Prime. No warp signatures escaping. They're trapped." Mara exhaled slowly. This was the moment the Empire had never thought possible. The moment their assumptions snapped under the weight of their own arrogance. For centuries, they had believed humanity was a species between prey and nuisance, harmless so long as they were prodded with a stick instead of stabbed with a sword. Then they shaved 3 girls, 3 children, 3 symbols of innocence. And the Empire ignited a war that was burning across 1,000 suns. "Order Hammer Group to hold their position," Mara said. "They wait until we arrive. I want the Emperor to understand who brought the storm." Ren nodded and moved to relay the command, but Mara's mind drifted back to the broadcast that started everything. It had been a simple Imperial demonstration, a trivial sentence. Human compliance must be absolute. Then the cameras revealed the 3 young girls, shaking, crying, heads forcibly shaved as the crowd of alien nobles laughed. A small humiliation by Imperial standards, an unforgivable one by human standards, because the Empire never understood one fundamental thing about humans. You can threaten adults, you can push soldiers, you can provoke warriors, but you do not hurt their children. And on that day, even the most peace-leaning humans felt something ancient and primal ignite, something older than civilization, something older than war itself. Not rage, not vengeance, protection, a species-wide instinct coded in bone marrow. If children are harmed, every adult becomes a weapon. The vengeance eternal tore through warped space, emerging at the edge of Meridian Prime. A gargantuan jewel world encased in layered citadels and shimmering energy shields. Dozens of Imperial dreadnoughts guarded it, trembling in tight defensive formations. They knew humanity was coming. They simply didn't believe humanity could reach them. "Admiral," an ensign called out, voice breathless. "Imperial channels are broadcasting requests for negotiation. They want ceasefire terms." Mara's jaw clenched. "Show me." A holographic screen flickered to life. The face that appeared was Elder Marshal Zevrock, one of the highest-ranking commanders in the Empire. His 4 eyes blinked nervously, mandibles twitching. "Human fleet," his voice buzzed. "Your retaliation has exceeded all expected metrics. We propose immediate cease." "No!" The single word cut him off like a guillotine. Mara stepped forward until her reflection overlapped with his image. "You shaved the heads of human children," she said. "You violated the one boundary you were warned never cross." Every Empire strategist should have known what that meant. Zevrock sputtered. "It was symbolic discipline. It was an attack on human identity," Mara corrected. "Human children do not exist to be shamed for your propaganda. You turned innocence into spectacle. Now your Empire will witness consequence." Zevrock hissed in frustration. "This response is irrational." "No," Mara said softly. "This response is human." She cut the channel. "All ships," Mara commanded, voice echoing across interstellar bandwidth. "Form the RAF line. Begin surface penetration. Target Meridian Prime, primary command spire." The fleet responded like the closing jaws of a wolf pack. Battleships aligned into rows, their hulls glowing with fusion-charged brilliance. Carriers released swarms of automated warforms, machines shaped not like soldiers, but like avenging angels streaking through void. And for one moment, the world beneath them seemed to inhale. Then humanity exhaled. Thousands of beams, rail lances, and graviton detonators struck the Imperial capital. Shields shattered like glass under a hammer. Citadels melted into rivers of white-hot slag. The command spire, symbol of unbroken Imperial rule, cracked down its center, folding in on itself like the spine of a dying beast. Imperial transmissions devolved into chaos. Screams, orders, pleas. None slowed the assault, because this was not conquest. It was retribution. Hours later, the firestorms cooled. Imperial banners, once draped across continents, lay charred and unrecognizable. Admiral Mara Hale stood in the ruins of the primary command chamber, helm in hand. Her boots crushed fragments of crystalline armor. Beside her stood the three girls, the ones whose humiliation set the galaxy ablaze. They stared silently at the shattered symbols of empire. One of them, the youngest, looked up at Mara. "Are we safe now?" Mara knelt so their eyes met. "Yes," she said, "not because we destroyed the empire, but because humans refused to let anyone hurt you again." The girl nodded shakily. Mara placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Behind them, human soldiers stood watch, not as conquerors but guardians. Rin approached. "Admiral, Imperial Command is offline. The galaxy is silent." "Good," Mara said. "Now we'll listen." She turned to her comms officer. "Transmit my final message." Her voice carried across every surviving Imperial world. "Let all species understand. Humanity is peaceful until you harm our children. If you do, expect the sky to fall." And across the galaxy, races old and young, powerful and fragile, heard that message and shivered. Because the Empire thought shaving the heads of 3 children would break human spirit. Instead, it awakened it. And when humanity awakens, no empire survives unchanged.